mother might have control of the information that's going on. And the father never get a chance to explain himself to the kid or whatever. So I think that'd be instrumental in helping something like that. Like I look at it like you got a lot of applications, you know what I mean? And if it do like grow up and turn into something, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm thinking like I could give it to her as a vehicle that she could use. So the first one going to be on Thursday at 7 o'clock. Then we're going to take it from there.
All right, West Coast, Fifth Element Hip Hop. Yeah, I don't know. We had some kind of, there was some kind of difficulties. I couldn't get the Zoom to connect. So we ain't, I guess, but we still got the medicine cabinet. Let's go ahead and open up. Let's go ahead and open up the medicine cabinet and see how, see what's going on over here.
My baby, she broke my virginity. That's what they broke my virginity, man. You ain't gonna get a photo on there, our bitch photo. Matter of fact, I got she should be Bernadette right now should be about 64. I know I had a like before everybody started dying like that, man. This was like a year, 2 years. This was a while ago. He died first. He got killed first. You got killed. You know what it was? I sat on the butt. When she get off the bus, that's me. You know, the church King Highway, 35. Okay. Right, yo. Big open so long.
Jarrell Boylan. It's been a minute since we seen Jarrell Boylan. Divine Truth. We got we over here at the medicine cabinet. We ain't get anybody tuned in yet. Knowledge of Allah. Yeah, everything is peace. Yeah, we wait for a few more people to come in from the What Did I Miss crew. They probably thought we might not come on today because it did take a minute. Everybody, go ahead and share this on your Twitter and your Facebook so we can get the rest of the people in here. All right, 28 degrees steady and hard. Yeah, 28 degree. That takes a little bit of you gotta apply some serious pressure on that one.
Knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge. What's been going on out there? Any new updates? I've been kind of out of the loop. I just been busy handling my business. Last week I fucked around and shit got so hectic. I ain't even end up doing my fast for the one day last week. So this week I got in early. I'm fasting today. Although I cheated. I had some lemon ginger tea with honey because I need to keep my immune system up. Weather changing. Watching the Kenosha case. Yeah, I mean the Kenosha case, you know, it's a thing. You know, for me, like I said, it's just kind of white on white crime. Like, it don't interest me the same way. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, the case is about the brother that got shot. That they shot him in his back. Now, in terms of the contrast, that's something that I find interesting. Meaning, the dude that got shot, right? That the protest is over, he got shot because he had a knife. Jacob Blake, yeah. Jacob Blake got shot because he had a knife, and Kyle Rittenhouse was walking down the block with a machine gun. So just the difference in how they was dealt with, if we dealing with justice and it's supposed to be blind and all of these things, that's a discussion. But in terms of, a lot of the things, a lot of people is probably not going to see eye to eye with me on that. But look, as somebody who has been the defendant in court before, when people use, when they go into court and they exercise certain rights or whatever, look, I've been there. I want those statutes to be there, because I'm me. So, we never know when I may fall afoul of them again, and I'm going to need to rely on some of those statutes for my freedom. So beware of the system that you allow to be set up, because that's just the thing about the system, right? Is that eventually it turns against you if you've allowed it to be set up in a way where it turns against somebody else. So in terms of, whatever, I'm not really all that concerned about that. The thing, like I said, that, just in terms of whatever I might find as a valid conversation, and that is just the contrast of the justice, we got several people that, you got what was the brother that got shot in the parking lot, with the taser. And remember, he was in the Wendy's and he had fell asleep in the drive-through, and the cops came and they ended up getting in a scuffle. Like I said, just the contrast, not justifying for what he did, but just saying you have to notice the contrast of how, Kyle Rittenhouse receives assistance, right? Whereas these brothers is met with deadly force. So that part is interesting, but in terms of the case,
didn't he leave too, right?
Who?
Kyle Rittenhouse. They didn't get locked up that night, right?
Yeah, they told him to get off the street.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. He received assistance. They told him get off the street, and then he bounced and went home. So who knows, man? VC Realm, what's the word? VC Realm always send me some stories. I gotta get more, I'm starting to learn that I still never really got into the YouTube thing. I turn the camera on and do my thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not stuff you're missing. Yeah, I'm seeing now that like I can't keep it, I gotta keep it organized. I think I gotta write it down or something. I think I gotta write it down. When y'all be sending me interesting stories that I be wanting to cover on the show, but then I can't keep track of them or something. But yeah, VC Realm always have some interesting stuff.
I was just reading the story today. You heard about the chick, Karen?
Aunt Karen?
Aunt Karen, yeah, it's a black girl.
Oh, Aunt Karen?
Yeah, Aunt Karen. She's a I think she like a YouTube. They say she is an influencer. You feel me? But what she doing is she's going to all these different Facebook groups that's pushing the White Lives Matter, whatever. You feel me? And exposing them for being racist, get them shut down.
What?
She's going to all the different Facebook groups that's pushing the White Lives Matter narrative.
Mm-hmm.
She's exposing them for being racist and getting them shut down.
Oh.
I just read that today.
Yeah, I guess, that's the thing. But these things ain't gonna go away. That's, to me, is on a certain level. Like if you take down these statues or something, you know what I'm saying?
Change the mindset.
Yeah. These things is not going away like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand the whole cancel culture thing, and there is an amount of there's an amount of pressure that's been exerted through that. I can understand that, but Facebook groups, you get them shut down, they open other Facebook groups. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has been put in Facebook jail, banned from this, banned from that. See, fortunately, this channel developed in a hotep environment. You see what I'm saying? So you don't have to worry about that kind of thing. But all of the stuff we're getting people's channel canceled. There's something about that. There's a lady that she's like a feminist, right? But she's an old school, like she's a second wave feminist, I guess. I don't know what wave they're supposed to be in now, right? And one of the she's a historian, some type of cultural historian at one of these universities.
So was she second wave? Was she like in the Gloria Steinem area?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And we have God Almighty. We have one of these followers of Arabic customs in the room. I see. Look, we about to have some fun tonight, y'all. We have. Listen, God Almighty. What kind of blasphemy is this? What kind of blasphemy is this? You coming in here saying Assalamu alaikum? You can't even spell it. What kind of Muslim you supposed to be, and you can't spell Assalamu alaikum? See, that's what goes to show you, saying you're not Muslim. Like that's the first thing right now. Are you NOI?
You might have been trying to say I like salami and bacon.
Well, I don't know what you're trying to say.
That's why he spelled it wrong. He's trying to spell I like salami and bacon.
Because if you're not NOI, this is not going to be a good conversation for you. Before you get started, the only Muslims is NOI. You might be Muslim at best. Has anybody ever figured out what a Muslim is? But yeah, we have a Muslim visitor here. I guess he had enough already. But we have, I guess, our Muslim friend. I don't know if he brought some friends with him, because as soon as he logged in, the room numbers went up. But who knows? But getting now, that we got the Wicked Up Miss Crew in here, we get to the title of today's class, So I was studying my lessons. Now, for those of y'all that know me, those that know the 5%, if you wise, now's the time to put on your protective gear. Whatever you got, helmet, goggles, bulletproof, fireproof, parachute. I'm gonna give you a second right now. to get prepared. Some people is like that. When they've been thinking, you better have your protective gear on. But I was studying my lessons. The unique thing now about studying your lessons after you had the knowledge for a period of time, right? So I don't need the paper no more. See, it's up here. See, there's a certain way that, like I've been telling y'all, you have to know the whole 120, right? So you got to be able to bounce back and forth in order to get the understanding. Like, see, 120 is one thing. You see what I'm saying? Like when you look at the piano, right? The piano got 88 keys, but it's one thing. The piano is one thing. The one key by itself is not, you can't make 88 separate keys and still have that be a piano. You're not going to be able to play Beethoven's Ninth or whatever he's up to. So it's the same thing with 120. In order to be able to harmonize the whole thing, you can't have just one part. You see what I'm saying? And we don't have the time. We from the streets, man. Well, now we from families. Whether they was broke or not, we from families. But I'm saying we had a lot of our development in the street. We're not carrying around no Bibles, no Qurans, unless I got them here. So at any rate, I was studying my lessons, right? And I got y'all protective gear on because we get ready. So, I was thinking about the science, and it's funny that we get this follow-up Arabic custom in here because I was thinking about our brothers over at the NOI, right? And dealing with the science of Fard, right? And they refer to Fard as Allah, right? But Fard referred to us as his uncle, or the black man in America without the knowledge of himself, right? As his uncle, right? So your uncle is a person that you still respect. You understand what I'm saying? This is still somebody that you look up to who is a teacher of you. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we know the signs that, right, the uncle, right, is other than his own self because he don't have the knowledge of himself. If he came to the full realization of himself, he would see that he's the what? Father of all civilization. Not just that particular situation. You understand what I'm saying? So now, right, you got your seatbelts on? You got your seatbelts on, make sure they tight right now. I figured out why we can't find Alfonso. Alfonso is us. And see, if we don't have the knowledge, or if our knowledge and realization haven't reached that level, then we don't know who Alfonso is. But Alfonso is really us. I'm working on Baby G. See, she's from Italy, right? The Roman Empire. You see what I'm saying? And America, right, is some kind of extension of the Roman Empire, right?
Indeed, just because it's extension of the English
Right.
monarchy.
So now, right, when you get this science that we deal with, right, is born from us being here in the wilderness, us, right, being Alfonso, right, being here in the wilderness of North America or the Roman Empire. You see what I'm saying? And so we're not going to find these people. Do I need to slow down? Because listen, y'all know I'll be with Far and Elijah. We be out there. So I don't know if y'all are y'all following me? Cause see, that's the science. See, that's why knowledge in your lesson is still important. Like you see people, I had knowledge this long and that long. So as if it's not important, as if it's not important for you to know them now, as if it's not still things for you to be learning. You see what I'm saying? Because once you stop dealing with eternal learning, then you stop dealing with eternal life. And once you stop dealing with eternal life, you're dealing with eternal death. Like there's no middle ground and shit. Like I understand with medical science, right? They have different things, different things they can do to the body. You know what I'm saying? To keep the body reacting in certain ways. But they can't make life. And they can't destroy life. They can destroy the body. Did Fard have children? There's a version of who Fard is. I think, is it the New Zealand version? I think in the New Zealand in the New Zealand version, I think they tracked down his wife and kids. They tracked down his wife and kids in the New Zealand version, but
So what is they
I don't get into that because, like I just told y'all, Alfonso was us. So you searching for that does not exist for a religious character like Adam or Eve or the rest of them.
Like, you might
See
just,
that? I told y'all, man. Listen,
you might just open that door into that rabbit hole.
you got to be able to speak Elijah's language, man. I fuck with Elijah, man. I speak Elijah's language. I understand what he means by these things. She just like, look, I speak King James language. I know about the Bible. I speak Allah's language. I know about the 5%. But some other language, I don't even, a person could tell me whatever they say. Like a person could talk to me right now in Albanian. I wouldn't know what the fuck they said. I heard them. Who is this? The law will manifest is back. See, the law will manifest. You a good person to tune into this show because you need to study your lessons. With degrees. See, I already told y'all. The amount of time that this lives has been going on, right? It's been 2 years. Everybody should know 120.
Who you supporting, Anthony?
See, because like I said, it's beyond knowing 120 is beyond, having to quote them, right? To be right exactly according to protocol. It's beyond that. It's about all the things that's happening amongst us. You understand what I'm saying? It's about, right now in this pandemic, right? What's your culture now? Like now that you gotta survive, like you have certain things that you do, certain ways, certain actions, right? You went to this place and you did things a certain way, right? Now that that's not the science, right? How you gonna survive now? See, this is when it comes a true test when you say, man, well, look, if you didn't get nothing out of this, then you're not one of us. See, that's the real science of studying, eternal learning. It's that, you gotta remember that the only constant in the universe is change. And so, how do you deal with that change? Like when we say, at one time that was a common saying, God is swift and changeable, yet remainable. Meaning that, when the things in the environment change, you're able to adjust to that, right? Without becoming other than your own self. See, how do you know as these new things come down the pipe, all the new developments? Not just knowing, to say that they solving problems, but how do you stay on top of it? For instance, if you're not studying and learning about your surroundings, right? And then you talking to some youth, whether they your family or whether, they, the universal family of Black youth, right? And you speaking to them, what advice you giving them, right? If you haven't continued to learn. Like right now, you go and tell a kid, yo, you should get into making wagon wheels. Yeah, that's, what you going to school for? Yeah, did you think about majoring in making wagon wheels? Yeah, you gave them some good advice, to pick up a skill, right? That's valuable in society. But yeah, that society in the 1800s, in the 1700s, you could have made a living making wagon wheels. See, like if it was like, yo, America just signed the Homestead Act. So what that means is a whole bunch of people is going to be moving out west and they're going to need to move their shit. So making wagon wheels at that point probably was a good idea. But right now that we got motherfuckers trying to, the next step they trying to take now is cars that don't even touch the ground. So it would be wiser for you to tell them to go into something, right, that might put them in that field. But how do you do that unless you're studying and dealing with eternal learning? You see what I'm saying? Understanding is something that continues to grow, right? No matter what stage it's in, right? No matter what stage that we in, right? Just like right now, we all got the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? We can make the rain, hail, snow, earthquake, all these things right here, right? But the nation still has a father. We still the cream of everything what came, all the knowledge and wisdom that came before us. So it's the same thing, with mentally as well as physically. Is that we still the cream, we still got to continue to rise to the top. And what that means is that, just like I said, just like the same person is still understanding after all these years, right? It's still understanding left in everything that we dealt with. Meaning, listen, you go from knowledge to born, right? And you completed that cipher. But then you go from knowledge to knowledge born. And complete that same cipher again. But guess what? You learn more things. So see, every time when you asking a brother a degree, right? Or you dealing with things, right? Y'all should be teaching and learning new things. If not, y'all wasting y'all time. That's not building. Like y'all, and I'm not saying don't have a conversation. You understand what I'm saying? There's still social equality where, y'all may come and talk about y'all opinions on who y'all think is going to win the championship or whatever it is. But I'm just saying, don't delusion yourself to think that, you can tell me knowledge means to know, and I can tell you wisdom means to speak. And now we've done some type of building. But see, like how I just did, yes, I mean, if I come back and say, yo, I was studying my lessons, man, and I seen something in there, I just happened to turn this stone right here, and this obvious knowledge was right here the whole time. We came from a state of being blind, right? And as people built with us, it shined light that illuminated certain realities that now we was able to see. But you gotta remember that this light that we dealing with is not like, the street light where the light from over there, it fades away. See, the light we dealing with, it don't fade over time and distance. So why would we let our knowledge fade over time and distance? Dr. Da Vinci, you said you're getting the knowledge from Wise. Oh, West Coast Wise? Yeah, he did tell us that. He told us that you did your fast and you took the red pill. I guess I'll extend the warning to you as well. Keep your seatbelt tight and your helmet on. Be it 5%. You understand what I'm saying? See now you becoming 5% and you see what the science of history really is. See, that's another thing when, studying my lessons. I was, like I said, I was out in the field. I haven't been paying attention to the news and everything, but so that gives me time to, deal with my own thoughts. You know what I'm saying? But, when you deal with the science of history, right, a lot of people is talking about the knowledge of the details of certain events in history. See what I'm saying? Meaning you could say, yeah, Darkim got the knowledge on this day, and he knowledge 120 on this day, and he built with this person on that day, and he started. But saying that's not the history, man. A lot of shit is the everydays, man. It's not just a year to every mile. It's a second to every motherfucking mile. You understand what I'm saying? All of that science is the history, guy. You see what I'm saying? And when certain shit gets left out, right, it could change how the person is looking at these individual events. See, especially when people tell all the history from, one aspect or the other aspect. Like if you talk about all the negative stuff that happened, or you talk about all the positive stuff that happened. Like it was times when, listen, I was walking down the street and motherfuckers said, yo, you 5%? Said, why, yes, I am a 5%. And they said, here, young man, and just hit me off, G. Never seen the person before or since. Then there was other times when, listen, oh, you 5%? I said, get me the fuck out of here. See, that's when we really deal with the science of the history. That's the real history, not just the events. That's what I'm saying. You can tell, depending on who the person is, we can pick George Washington, right? That's what they're dealing with right now in the education system, right? Is which events do we pick to talk about? You see what I'm saying? If we talk about the American Revolution, right? George Washington is one guy. But if you talk about the Whiskey Rebellion, he's another guy. The Whiskey Rebellion, right, was a sign, just, on the side note, the Whiskey Rebellion was from some people who, they were soldiers in the Revolutionary War, right? And when America was starting, they trying to get their paper up, they wanted to tax the whiskey. And these people felt like, yo, wait a minute, didn't we just fight a war about not being taxed? Like, and then you're going like, dude, this us, son, you forgot what's the deal? And they kept sending tax people over there, and they was fucking them up, tarring, feathering them, all types of shit. And then George Washington went over there to crush those people. So all this liberty shit you was talking, right? All this freedom shit you was talking, all this oppression shit from the government you was talking was not you in that other instance. So like I said, if you just dealing with those events, you know what I'm saying? But when we talk about every step of the way, that's something different. That's something different. A lot of people, man, the stuff what they saying, even look, you talk about the history of Allah, you was there that day. And that's the science of just reality, man. That's the science of reality. A lot of things, a lot of people that we look at, historically, and see, that's why I'm not religious. And that's why I don't give a fuck. Listen, you can tell me whatever you want, right? See, but because I'm not religious and I don't look at people as holy men, right? If you tell me that they was wrong or they did something wrong or whatever the case may be, that's not going to eliminate them from the realm of righteousness to me. SW, do you recall those days when we used to say that one righteous man act is not going to make a devil into a righteous man. And one unrighteous act is not going to take God outside the realm of righteousness or who he is. We got our Robbie in the building. You see, that's what happens when you don't continue studying and dealing with eternal learning, right? Not only do you, you deal with death because you're not gaining no new knowledge, right? And you're not gaining no new knowledge, then you ain't producing no new wisdom or adding on no new understanding, right? But you also lose all the knowledge you had. You lose the knowledge and wisdom and understanding that you already had. See, when people, when they even inactive, what they always come, oh yeah, God, you know, I used to know that. I used to know, I used to build on all this science.
If that science and you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Yeah. Because things have to be put into activation mentally as well as physically. Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? You can have a skill. You know, right now, you know, Michael Jordan, I'm talking about with no defense. His average probably wouldn't be the same. You know, if you just say, yo, Mike, give me 100 jump shots. Let me see how many you make. I doubt it come out the same. Like not even threes, it's mid-range shit, son. Just pull up right here. Because things had to be put into activation in order for you to get the best part out of it. If you got that knowledge, but you ain't put in activation, how you gonna get the best part out of it? That's why you got to continue studying. You know what I'm saying? And you know, look, you know, our culture, you know what I'm saying, one of the things that put us in that mindset is dealing with the lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you ever, you know, you look at different shows, right? And they different families, whatever, they have the God I be the what's messed up about tonight is I wasn't able, speaking of study, it's wow how everything is connected today. But I was in one of these rooms. I wish you could come on, but something happened with the Zoom today. And I couldn't go live from the Zoom. That actually caused me to be late coming on. But recall you was saying how the new medicine, the treatment that they have for the COVID, right? The new treatment that they have is you're supposed to take it with HIV medication.
What's that, the pill?
Yeah. Now, I was in one of these rooms, right? And the people was talking, and somebody said that, I don't know how true this is, that's why I'm asking you. Somebody said that that was the reason for that is because that was the gain of function that they was trying to, I guess, discover or invent or whatever the word for that would be, but that they was trying to use this virus as some kind of vector to deliver treatment to HIV patients. And so that's the reason why the spike protein is similar or the same or whatever. Have you come across any of that? I don't know if you got Instagram, but on Instagram, I'm at a large fruit, and I'm on there right now where you can come on. That's the class on Instagram. If you could come on and add on, you know, because that sounded wild to me when I heard it, but at the same time, with the science that you said about it needing the HIV medication to be effective, right? Then to a layman like myself, it was like, wait, whoa. To a layman like myself, You know, where's my conspiracy theorist at? do I have my conspiracy theorist in the building? All right, yeah, IP just came in.
That's crazy.
In the medicine cabinet.
That's definitely crazy.
Let's see if I could join the live, IB. I don't know how to get you in the oh wait a minute.
I think he gotta hit it, right?
Yeah, I don't know how this works.
Yeah, he gotta actually be in the line.
Oh, here it is. All right, I just invited you in.
Yeah, that's nutty.
All of the business. Yeah, that was some interesting news. That's what I'm saying. See, stuff like that, when I hear that kind of stuff, I gotta start doing a live about that. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm just realizing, like, yeah, see, I still ain't really yeah, I'm just kind of. Yeah, you know what else I was thinking? What happened to Smoked Out? You know, Smoked Out. Yeah. He got mad about something. I can't remember what it was.
It's a lot of people I haven't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Shakima.
Yeah, I ain't seen him in a minute. Yeah, what happened to
what's the name? I still be building with him though, with Nigel. Remember Nigel Brim?
Yeah.
That's the dude. Remember you hooked me up with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still be building with him too. You know, he got a name and everything now. He on his 140.
I don't know. Somehow I said IB couldn't join. Wait, hold on. Let me send you the. It says I invited you to join. I don't know. Wait, we're trying to get IB in here to trying to get IB in here to build on the sign, because yeah, that you know, they going crazy, man. But you know, all the time I'm doing my workout, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, after they get enough people to fold, and they decide, well, yeah, the rest of we can round the rest of these niggas up. Yeah, I'm not going easy. Oh yeah, that could be it. Yeah, Instagram is a cell phone kind of thing. Yeah, I don't think it worked the same. I ain't really sure about, because I never even been on Instagram on the
computer.
Yeah, on the computer like that. Reveal 360 said the scientist that made the lipid nanoparticles that releases the mRNA within the body once you take a jab, name is Peter Cullis. He made it in the 90s in Canada. Pfizer and Moderna used it. Yeah, I'm hearing a whole bunch of different things about, all right, here goes IB. I'm hearing a whole bunch of different things about who invented this technology and how exactly it came to what's the name. So yeah, we got IB in here. Hold on, let me turn this up. Hopefully y'all can hear. So yeah, what's did you hear anything about that?
The way you described it was kind of strange. I don't know. That didn't sound correct. The way that you described it, as far as the gain of function. All right, so I'm gonna say this is why I understand it. Right, my understanding the gain of function. Hold on. You might not be in there. Come on, here, you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, so my understanding of the gain of function, right? What they were trying to do was they was trying to take a naturally occurring coronavirus, right? That was prevalent in animals, meaning it existed in animals already, but it did not cross over into humans. The gain of function aspect means that they gave it the ability to cross over into humans. In order to do that, it has to have the spike that has an affinity for a human a human connection, right? Like for instance, the coronavirus that is out right now, the spike protein attaches to the ACE receptor. That is a human receptor. If it doesn't have that ability, then it won't be able to cross over into humans unless you have what they call a spillover event, where something crosses over from an animal into a human. As far as that's the research that they were saying that they were doing, because they were saying that they wanted to test to find out what would be the end result of another coronavirus coming, like a SARS or a MERS or something like that. Right? Now, when it comes to the HIV medicine, this is what it is, right? You got different phases. HIV was the first virus that I really started to study. You got different phases, right? Like the fusion phase is when the spike protein attaches to the ACE receptor, right? In HIV, there's various phases where they'll try to stop the virus from replicating itself. And all of the medicines are basically attacking or trying to prevent one of those phases from occurring. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
So that's why they call proteins and
now. Here's two follow-up questions, right? That I immediately thought of. Right? Is why would they want to cause this disease to cross over, right? Or this virus to be able to cross over, right? And then only because I've heard, I don't know how much is used, you know what I'm saying? But because viruses, kind of have a direct into cells, right? I've heard of kind of technology where they wanted to use viruses to, introduce some type of treatment. You know what I'm saying? And then the second question, that's coming from my conspiracy theorists, right, would be being that there's also some speculation that HIV was invented in the lab, right? Would that, with the fact that the proteins, these spike proteins, right, are similar, would that kind of point to that direction, that they both was invented, let's say?
Okay, so let me touch on the first thing first, right? You said that they utilize some viruses to give a medicine, right? Okay, so the first thing I'll say is this: as far as mRNA vaccines, right? Their vehicle that they use to pass the mRNA is the lipid nanoparticle, right? Which is a proprietary chemical that Moderna and Pfizer BioNTech, they have their own versions of, right? Now, Johnson & Johnson, they have their method of action for their virus is called the viral vector, right? Where they actually utilize another virus. They take out the instructions of that virus and put in the instructions for the coronavirus. The virus that they use is a common cold virus, right? That they've been experimenting on for a very long time. And they take that's the shell, meaning that virus has already had a connection with human beings and it's already prevalent in human beings. So they take the insides of that virus out and put the coronavirus insides in there. So once it connects to your cells, now it's baiting and switching and sending the message for the coronavirus. So now when your body starts to produce the immune proteins to fight against it, it'll be fighting against the coronavirus as opposed to the common cold. So, yeah, that's a very slippery slope because we already know who we're dealing with. Correct? We already know who we're dealing with. So, yeah, they playing with germs. They've been playing with germs for a very long time, and they got good at it now. Did that answer your question, or should I clarify further?
Well, it confirmed, the question, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if what you were saying is yes, that there is different technology that they use, they use viruses because, just the nature of viruses is that they interface with cells. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of, taking advantage of that, just in a way, kind of like, with bacteria, how a certain medication that they'll give you for your stomach or whatever that includes bacteria because they know that it's going to interact with the bad bacteria by killing them off.
Right. Now, as far as the second part, when it comes to this HIV, right? I haven't seen anybody that could prove definitively whether they actually made it in the lab or not. There's a lot of different speculation. But what I will say is this medication that they're making, as far as I'm looking at it, it may be just like them using that specific HIV medication, it may be just to stop a specific phase of the replication of a virus, period. You know what I'm saying? It may not be specific just to HIV. So if they utilize this medication, it may be able to stop all types of viruses from being able to replicate.
So what's the commonality? So is that like a common, like whatever's the spike protein, right? That's similar in HIV to this virus, right? Is that like something that's common amongst viruses?
Well, the spike protein for the HIV virus is a totally different type of spike, though, right? The HIV virus attaches to the CD4 T cell, and it's a different. They have a different type of spike on the outside of the HIV. I forgot the exact number. It's a bunch of numbers. I used to know it off the top of my head, but since I've been studying this coronavirus, now I'm just caught up with what the coronavirus does. But it's a different type of spike that connects and has an affinity for the CD4 T cell. So, but what I'm trying to say is that, okay, let's say that they have a fusion inhibitor, right? Let's say they have a fusion inhibitor. Fusion meaning when the spike protein connects to the ACE receptor, right? They have a medication that can prevent that process from going forward. Let's say that medication is something that prevents the cells.
Hold up, you cut out for a second and prevents what you said?
Use it for multiple different medications.
You cut out for a second. You said it prevents what?
Let's say that. All right, let's say that the fusion inhibitor prevents all viruses from being able to connect to cells, right? And it's not just specific to HIV. So you would be able to use that in conjunction with another medication, and it would lower the possibility of that virus being able to do what it's going to do. But see, I haven't studied the actual papers on the Pfizer pill yet.
So what you're saying is that it's not necessarily affecting the protein, but just the kind of step-by-step advancement of how the effects of the virus. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because there's various phases. Like you have the attachment phase, right? You have when the DNA is actually split into the cell. You got the point where it goes into the nucleus. Then you have the point where the proteins is created. I think that's where it's at. I think that the specific medication that they use is a protease inhibitor, right? Which is when the actual virus has basically made it possible to recreate itself within the cell and make the actual protein. It's preventing that phase of making the actual proteins. I'm pretty sure that's what a protease inhibitor does. Either that or a protease inhibitor is the one that actually cuts the strands of protein so that it could be readily usable.
Yo, G, this on Instagram, they be limiting the time. I'm about to log this off, but I'm coming right back on. Come right back in the room.
And I'm gonna have some names for you when I come back.
All right, bet.
Yo, the way you was explaining that sounds like the same way they make like Trojan horse viruses for computers. You know what I'm saying? Like they disguise the virus as something else, but plant it in, like it's safe, but inside is you know what I mean? It's a virus to mess up your computer, but it look like it's a different kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's like that whole science right there. That's the whole science of the Trojan horse. You know what I'm saying? Like how they, like you said, they change it, but fill it up with something different with an enemy, but it look like it's a guess.
You got some more of the people that came in, but while we waiting on the guy to come back with a little more of that research, you know what I'm saying? Where was we at when I was talking about studying my lessons? It was something. Oh yeah, but we pretty much was done with that. That rant was pretty much over. You know what I'm saying? That in terms of the history, when we say, we renewing the history and everything, and just the way we look at it. A lot of times we look just like the brother, he was here and he had that history of Allah. You said ODB party on the gram? What's that? But yeah, when you look at the history, of certain things and see, it's just like when when Elijah Muhammad said, we've been waiting 379 years for this day. See, that day might be the only thing that goes down in history. But see, every step that was taken in them 379 years, that's the history too. And see, that's the difference, in, learning about it and living. See, that's the difference between you tune in on Mondays and Tuesdays or whatever days I do it, and yeah, it's a considerable amount of time and all that. But there's a difference between that and, what you buy at the supermarket when you go there. The stuff that you eat, the people that you surround yourself with, the places that you go, the environments. You understand what I'm saying? Because the environment is something that could bring something out of you, right? Or I don't want to say suppress, but make something remain dormant. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning like, if a person is, let's say, on drugs, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes to control your actions, right? Control your thoughts, you need to control your environment. But you said Truvada lawsuit. What is Truvada? So it's Old Dirty Bastards Degree Day, and they're having a party on Instagram. The world has come a long way. A super long way. Oh, Truvada is a drug. Yeah, see, I don't take medicine, so I wouldn't know. That's the kind of thing is outside of my. Yeah, definitely shout out to A-Sun Unique though on his born day. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Facebook party part is a little bit ridiculous to me, but you know, definitely peace to the God on his born day. Let's not leave that part out. So this Truvada medication causes bone loss and the loss of teeth. So what was the original? What was Truvada? What was it supposed to be treating? What was the original condition? He says here the Pfizer pill falls into a class of drugs called protease inhibitors, which includes oral treatments for pathogens like HIV and hepatitis C.
Mm-hmm.
Protease are enzymes that play an important role in this process. The virus uses this enzyme as a kind of molecular scissor that can chop up long proteins, enabling the virus to replicate itself in the cell. But when protease are met with molecules called inhibitors, they become blocked and can no longer do their job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so Truvada is PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. So let me get this straight. Is that the pill that that I've seen advertised where like the people are supposed to take it and then they can't pass HIV? Is that because listen, that's
I think that is that joint.
listen, that's another one of those that's another one of those things where look, you know, I give it some time. You know what I'm saying? Before listen,
did you
I
get
give
HIV?
it, yeah, I give it some time before I have taken sex with somebody with HIV based on that, you know. But yeah, I heard. I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh God, I ain't even gonna lie to you, right? When it comes to that Truvada, right? I do presentations because you know I'm a health educator certified, and I was doing presentations on HIV, and they have a specific procedure that they try to do to end the epidemic of HIV, right? But the person who was actually paying me to do the presentations wanted me to start doing presentations on Truvada. I refused to do it because Truvada has a side effect. Truvada is what they call a pre-exposure prophylaxis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they're giving you an HIV medication that's supposed to stop the mechanism of action before it's done, right? And within your body. So, you know, it's really geared towards a lot of people who have an alternative lifestyle that's part of the alphabet community. A lot of them take it so that they can have, you know, intercourse with their others. You know, if I don't want to be too explicit,
yeah.
But you know, that's how they do it. So I didn't want to do it because they said that I think it's associated with either bone loss, makes your bones brittle, or something with the kidneys or the liver. It was something that was the issue with it. So I was not going to go out there and do those bills. So like we kind of lost touch with me doing that. I stopped doing it after that. But yeah, but these are the medications. Like they have a heart, what they call a heart therapy, right? It's highly active antiretroviral therapy, something like that, right? And it's like a cocktail of several drugs that people take while they have HIV, and it's supposed to deplete the virus, so that you can raise your immune cells, your T cells back up, right? The whole fight when you have HIV is bringing the amount of virus down, the amount of viral load down within your blood cells and raising the level of immune cells up, right? So if you get to a point where the amount of virus is undetectable, then you're basically like Magic Johnson, basically. And it's all about the amount of the virus that's in a microliter of blood. So it's still there, but it's undetectable. And the less detectable it is, the less likely it is that you'll be able to pass it on to somebody else.
Still not taking my chances.
And I don't blame you because, as you already know, all of these things have side effects. All of these things have side effects. So you're taking one thing and it's causing another issue.
Right, yeah,
It's
yeah.
causing another issue within the body. So
yeah, that's what she's saying right here. Like, I'm saying, like this is because see, sometimes that's why I asked, like, okay, what was the original condition, right? So the original condition is you want to have sex, you want to have sex, right? So you taking this pill, but then the pill makes you lose all your teeth. So I'm saying, like that might kind of inhibit your ability to have sex.
Sex appeal.
Yeah, like sometimes to me it just seems like this medicine is working against itself. You know what I mean? I can't, especially when you get into that medicine that's not life or death. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing when you need a heart medication or, you will have a heart attack and fall right out. You know what I mean? But if you're taking medication for like hair loss or some shit and it causes you to be impotent, then yeah, that's not good. That's
right.
That's not.
I got the information right here about this Pfizer pill, right? And it says, the Pfizer antiviral pill, the biopharmaceutical company Pfizer on November 5th announced an easy-to-administer COVID-19 pill, which, if taken with an HIV drug, can cut short the risk of hospitalization for high-risk patients who already had COVID-19 once. They are yet to submit their date for the Food and Drug Administration. If proven right, this can prove to be a game changer winning the battle against the ongoing pandemic. Now, Pfizer is the second such biopharma company to come up with an antiviral pill. The first one was Merck's, which proved to be effective for the first sign of illness. According to media reports, they plan on sending the procured data to administration as soon as possible. The pill that Pfizer has come up with, though, is scientifically called PF07321332. It is part of the protease inhibitors. It inhibits an enzyme that the virus needs to replicate in human cells, right? And these are called protease enzymes, right? It is originally used to treat viral pathogens like HIV and hepatitis C. The HIV drug is required to slow metabolism, which is required for the antiviral pill to be effective for long. Around 1,219 adults with one or more underlying health problems and a lab-confirmed infection within 5 days were taken for the study. According to Pfizer, participants were given a low dose of a popular HIV medication called ritonavir, right? And now ritonavir Ritonavir is sold under the name Norvir. It is an antiretroviral medication used along with medication to treat HIV. The combination treatment is known as highly active antiretroviral therapy. Often a low dose is used with protease inhibitors. It may also be used in combination with other medications for hepatitis C. It is taken by the mouth. So you see right there, right?
Mhm.
That they use this drug in combination with other protease inhibitors, not only for HIV, but also for hepatitis C. So what that says to me is that it's universal in stopping the mechanism of action for certain things, but it has to be used in conjunction with something else.
Mhm.
Now, speaking of the side effects, it says that the common side effects include nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, diarrhea, and numbness of the hands and feet. Serious side effects include liver problems, pancreatitis, allergic reactions, and arrhythmias. So you see, it's always a trade-off.
Mhm.
So now, if the risk is, if let's say that you have HIV, right? The underlying risk may be more substantial of dying from AIDS than suffering from the side effects that you would suffer from with taking this medication. But for somebody who is facing COVID-19, is the risk great enough to take something that's going to crush your pancreas, maybe give you liver problems and everything else, just so you could beat COVID-19?
Mhm.
These are the trade-offs, and these are the things that you have to ask yourself.
I got another question, right? Because like that seemed really specific. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like when you were saying in terms of the people that is in the survey or whatever, right? So it's like people that, you know, are in this condition and had COVID one time before. It's like that's like oddly specific for you to then say, okay, we're going to extrapolate that out to say it's safe for the whole society? Or is that normal in these types of studies?
See, they do that in these types of studies, but it's not what they call generalizable.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
It's not generalizable. The more you have to have a lot of people in the sample, right? And then you gotta have what they call I forgot the name of this study, but it's when they do multiple studies in multiple places over time for it to be generalizable. Let's say they did 1,200 here, they did 25,000 in another place, 50,000 in another place, 100,000 in another place, and then over time, then the generalizability of the study would be more perfected. But a lot of times they do these little trials, and you don't find out that the side effects affect different people in different ways until they push it out to the whole population. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, pretty much that's in a nutshell what all the people that don't want to take the vaccine is saying. Is that
what's up, God? Brother just came here from Texas. He would like to say peace to you. He's a newborn.
That's what's up.
Right?
you know, but that's that no doubt. No, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what you know, everybody is saying is that
Hey, my name's Poetic. I'm from Texas.
Texas.
Yes, sir.
All right.
How you doing, Peter, brother?
Darkim Be AllahChrist.
Rip. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But
I don't know who you told me to come here and talk to.
you know, that's
the guy that run the club.
you know, that's kind of, you know, at least my point, you know what I mean, is that, you know, first of all, the criteria under which you're saying that everybody needs to take the vaccine, you know what I'm saying, is really, it appears to be mostly affecting specific populations. You know what I'm saying? So then you're extrapolating that out to say that, you know, even populations that haven't really been affected, you know what I'm saying? Speaking on the children, the 5 to 11s, whatever, you know what I'm saying, are being forced to take it. And then the efficacy of it is also, you know what I mean? Like these, it's like always one little detail that's kind of not on the news. That's like, well, wait a minute, that means that it doesn't mean what you said it does. You know what I mean? Like when you were saying they gave X amount of people the vaccine, right? You know, they gave X amount of people the vaccine and then they just let them go live their life. So now you have no idea if they just let them go live their life. Maybe one person just went in his house and wasn't exposed to anybody with the vaccine. You understand what I'm saying? And maybe another person, you know, they went to do some type of outreach work to people who had it. You see what I'm saying? So how do you really say how effective it is? You know what I mean? Like mathematically and scientifically, it don't seem like there's enough controls. You know what I'm saying? Like when you control for these different variables that might say the outcome is this or that. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And then another thing is the main factor to have a study and make it generalizable also is that it has to be all things being equal. Right? And I was trying to tell some brothers like that on the YouTube channel before, like, yo, all things are not equal because there's various people with different conditions. We all got different issues that we facing within ourselves. So you can't say that, okay, you went and tested a population over there in Finland somewhere or Sweden or whatever, and they got good healthcare over there. They got, you know, a lot. The population is generally 96% Caucasian or whatever it is. You feel what I'm saying? And then you try to make that study generalizable for people all over the world that may be suffering from health conditions, maybe suffering from systematic racism, maybe suffering from all kinds of maladies.
So I guess, you know, to move to a different part of it, right? What about the different kind of public health responses? Like right now, I saw it.
I seen a little bit.
Where did I read? I read somewhere that Austria is getting ready to institute a lockdown for the unvaccinated people.
That's right.
So you heard that too. So I mean, what do we think about that? Like, is that you know, is that feasible even in America? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this something? Because, like, you know, suppose we start seeing the rollout of that. You know what I mean? And just kind of what is, you know, like, because you never know what to believe now. You know what I'm saying? But I'm hearing that you having all these spikes happening in Europe right now, right? And then at the same time, New York is open to tourists from Europe, right? And then I'm sure that it's like, okay, well, if you got the shot, then you can come. But as we know, that doesn't mean you don't have it. So what?
Well, this is the issue right here. For me, this is the issue, right? For one, they're saying that it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated, right? But that right there, that statement alone is not science. For the simple fact that the vaccine was created for the natural virus. The virus that mutate, right? You have alpha, beta, delta, mu, all these different variants there, right? It's great that we spoke about the spike protein because a lot of the mutations deal with the spike protein, and that's exactly what the vaccine is dealing with, the spike protein. But if the spike protein changes and the virus is created for the natural, the vaccine is created for the natural virus, then how can it be effective for a variant where the spike has changed? Right? So with that being said, okay, they can lock down all of the unvaccinated. That does not mean that people is still not going to be coming up with coronavirus. They just came up with an article just the other day that said within a few months, most of these vaccines have been less than 50% effective as they were when they first came out a month or two ago. And they said for the Johnson & Johnson, that shit went all the way down to like 10-15% effective.
Yeah, I was seeing something about that.
Right. So paper, you know, it sounds good. Okay, we'll lock up all the unvaccinated people and we won't have to worry about this anymore. But you will soon see that even though people are vaccinated, they will still be catching this. And the people that is mostly at risk, the people who have compromised immune systems and people that are elderly and all of these other people have still a high risk of dying.
Mm.
So what are you really going to solve?
Yes, I mean, you know, to me, it's just because that's the second thing that I heard, right? That was like, okay, I already predicted that, to say that, okay, this is when we know the slope has become super slippery, you know? So hearing that we got a situation like that where it's like, okay, you're going to single out the unvaccinated to be locked down, right? The other thing, there was a lady in one of those rooms that I was in, and she said that she's a personal trainer in Canada, and that the government said, okay, being that you got to deal with people, you have to have it, the vaccine. But then she said that on some paperwork that she had to sign, it said that if you know somebody that's working in your industry and they haven't been vaccinated, report them to this number right here.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
You know, and I was talking to a brother and he said that, look, he had to go up to the school because his son came home saying that I think he said they offered him some cake or something to take the vaccine. Like he had to go up there to tell them, like, listen, don't address him whatsoever about this vaccine. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I saw that coming. That's just a matter of education. Now it's more, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just the educational aspect of it, meaning the same way they tell us, you know, the police officer is your friend, the fireman is your friend, or whatever, you know, and being a good citizen is throwing your garbage in the garbage can, et cetera, that, you know, and you know, kids like to do that. You know what I'm saying? They like to participate and be a part of things and feel like they're doing good things. So, you know, if you start to just you know, pump to them that this is how you become a good citizen and a good person. And, you know, people who aren't doing this, they aren't being good citizens. So it's kind of our civic duty, you know what I'm saying, to single these people out. It's yes, I mean, but to me, it's so obvious that I don't see why it's not more pushback. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's, I mean, and I'm not on either side on that issue either, but it's like, okay, with all the things that's going on, you know, you got threats for all these people to get in the street and do all this protesting over somebody saying, look, I'm gonna stop crime. You know, now we got a protest going on, but all this other stuff, you know, so to me, there's a couple of things about that. Like, number one, okay, then how authentic are these protests? You know what I'm saying? If, you know, the most urgent matters get no protests, but the matters that's kind of sexy for TV and that fit inside of a certain agenda, you know what I'm saying, get a protest. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But
Yo, God, them protests was not authentic. I was out there during the protests, and you know, it was a lot of people out there. I mean, one time it was like 10,000 people going down Fifth Avenue and all of that. I was out there. People was laying down in the street and all kind of stuff. A lot of stuff was video, but in my mind, right, what I seen during that was it was during the lockdown. A lot of people wanted to come outside, right? There really wasn't full commitment to the cause. It was a full commitment to anarchy, right?
mm-hmm.
That's what it was really about. A lot of the people out there was on some anarchy stuff. Because at the end of the day, they pushed for what? Defund the police, all of these different issues, right? And they were talking about these things in our community, but none of the people that was out there doing it was from our community.
Right.
And just after that, when the police became disenfranchised, then you seen what? A whole bunch of shootings in our community, and there was nobody in our community to address it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
And the protesters was gone.
yeah, that's definitely something that I seen, that that movement in general and that aspect of it in specific is like it's coming from people that live in communities where they don't generally have those kind of problems. You know what I'm saying? So, defunding the police, just kind of that whole mentality, I just don't think it takes into consideration what is our actual condition here. You know what I'm saying? To where we just, it's kind of the masterful stroke of, people have a problem with that term or not right now, but kind of the masterful stroke of white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Is that people is trapped into things, right, that is kind of beneficial and harmful at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? So, like with the police, it's like, yeah, they harming us, but at the same time, because of the condition that we live in, just the poverty, you know what I'm saying, where people got to eat and they going outside the lines to do that, the police is, keeping at least some kind of lid on what's going on out there. You know what I'm saying? Or we look at something like, welfare, which is, it's being detrimental in locking us into an underclass. But then at the same time, once you in that underclass, people are starving. So what do? Do they say, no, we don't want the welfare? You understand what I'm saying? Like these is, kind of the math, even like when you have, immigration to America, where people would come in here, right, because of the conditions in their country is bad, but the brain drain that they're creating is making the conditions there worse. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, just on a lot of these things, when we deal with the system, when we look at it realistically, we can say, yeah, we want these things to be gone, but at the very least, it has to be gradual. You know what I'm saying? It can't be, just tomorrow, right, with the people, because it's, my to the way that I look at it is that in reality, it's up to the people and their mentality. Because when you look at communities that be real nice, they ain't even got no police.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 police, and they get off work at 6 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So it's the mentality of the people there that they just not into things that's harmful to the community. You understand what I'm saying? So
they got property. They property. They trying to have their property levels go down.
in and of itself, you understand what I mean? Creates an environment, like I said, where your mentality is going to develop a certain way. You see what I mean? So, when you kind of start to me, digging down into the philosophy behind a lot of these movements, you can see that they're not really for us. You know what I'm saying? It's the people, they don't really have our problems and they trying to solve them, with strategies and methods that might work in college town USA. You see what I mean? Because that's something that I've seen happen in New York. I don't know if that's happening in other places, but that's kind of the lines along that's it's the aspect of the gentrification, right? It's that you have a lot of people that's from college town USA, the Ann Arbors of America, right? And they came to New York and tried to recreate that experience. You know what I'm saying? Of all these little neighborhood bars, and we go in there and drink and play beer pong and shit. You understand what I'm saying? And certain things they like, well, yeah, college town USA, guys don't stand outside and play loud music. Like, what is that? That's the quality of life is. Well, what is this? You understand what I'm saying? Without realizing that, nah, that's our culture here. Like black people, we don't live in mansions and shit, so we live our life outside. That's you know what I'm saying. See, when you live in a mansion with all this AC and all that shit, you know what I'm saying. But when you poor, listen, and go outside, man. You see, you fucking
I
right.
try to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? But this is what happened, right? They advocated for all of that stuff, right? To fund the police. And then Cuomo actually put out legislation that said all of the police precincts in New York State had to come up with a community policing plan by a certain date, right? Now, when it came time to advocate for these community policing plans and some type of alternative, there was nobody there from none of these movements.
Mm-hmm.
So now I spoke to a legislator out here. They said that the only person that was in those meetings, only people that was in those meetings from around here, all it was the Urban League. When the hell you seen the Urban League out here advocating for any of this stuff?
1967.
Right. Now these people done got billions of dollars. Especially the Black Lives Matter, they done got billions of dollars. And they broke out. But when it came time to do the real work, because the real work is not the protest. The protest is the way you open up the dialogue. But after that comes the real work, which comes the actual legislation, right? Did they advocate and fully get past the George Floyd bill? No. Did they go to these different police stations all around the country and advocate for better community policing? No. So what they do with all of that money? This is the issue that people have with all of these movements, and I understand why people have, apathy when it comes to doing these things. Even with the voting, now you vote, you go and vote somebody out that you look as a troublemaker. The next person comes in and they don't even do anything that they say they're going to do for you. So it's like people develop this apathy because all of the social engagement and political engagement is just crumbling around us. But if we don't develop any type of political power in the next few years, then there's no reason for us to even cry out anymore because they don't have no reason to service our needs.
And see, that's another one of those situations, where we've been forced into where it's like, to me, this past presidential election, I don't know how much more evidence people need that, look, it's always difficult, right, to measure a hypothetical against a reality. You know what I'm saying? To say what somebody would have done, you know what I'm saying? And then weigh that against what somebody is doing. You know what I'm saying? So, but I just can't imagine that Trump could have been much worse than this. I can't. Like, I don't, you had to tell me, the specific thing. Like, to me, that's just the problem is that, and it's not just for Black people. You know what I'm saying? It's for the masses in general, right? Just for you to think that there's some recourse. You know what I'm saying? Meaning you're not just living in a dictatorship or a monarchy. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's this other person out here that if this person doesn't advocate for you the right way, in 4 years, you can get this other person to advocate for you. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, listen, we just gotta shut up and take it, and so it's effective in that, in appeasing the people, but it's just the religious aspect of it, like there's a group right now that I see where their point of view is that, look, my vote is for sale. You know what I'm saying? Meaning whoever is going to do something, right? that's who will get my vote, right? But the only thing that I would say to that is it's past time, yo. Like in any estimation of the shit, look, unless you a new motherfucker, Scram, what have you done already? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
All right. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, when you're dealing with career people, right? You're dealing with Biden, you know what I'm saying? You've had plenty of opportunity, right, to do these things if they was just how you felt. You understand what I'm saying? And when we dealing with people that's basically kind of that's one of their greatest skills is to feel people out, right? And see what it is that they want and then promise them that thing. That's what politicians do. That's what the focus group is about. For you to feel out the people, okay, what it is that they talking about, okay, go out and talk about that thing in this way. You see what I'm saying? So at some point, it's like some of these things end up becoming like a new biblical kind of narrative. You understand what I'm saying? Whether it's the good ship Jesus or rather it's the reparations, you know what I'm saying? Or whether it's equity, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? The person could go up there and give a whole sermon about how this is the right thing and the people and God wants you to have that thing and et cetera, right? But then they never had to produce it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the situation that we in right now, that we never had to produce it. And for some people, I'm like, listen, people talk about all these boogeymen that's out there. Look, I've seen all of them. From Nixon to Ford to Reagan to Bush 1 to Bush 2 to Trump. Saying it ain't that bad. I don't know. People be acting like, we gonna just fall off the face of the earth if Trump get elected. Nah, son, I lived through the Reagan era. In fact, let me tell you something. A lot of the good old days y'all motherfuckers be talking about was the Reagan era. When you look at rap music right now, they're imitating the Reagan era and how black people was in the Reagan era. See, Bill Cosby, all that shit, that came out in the Reagan era. See, all them old gangsters y'all looking at, what's the nigga name? Frank Lucas and all of them, that was the Nixon era.
Yo, but look, God.
We don't get money like that in the Democrats. We don't.
That Reagan era is what crushed us the most, though, God.
Yeah, but I'm saying we survived it. And I'm saying that the Clinton era crushed us at least on par.
That's true.
Definitely.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that no matter who it is, we not like, it's kind of some boogeyman shit. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, you was in there and you was scared of the boogeyman, but then you woke up and it was the morning time and nothing happened. But you still scared the next night. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm anti all of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm anti-Trump and I'm anti-Biden.
Yeah.
So right now, my whole thing is to advocate people to vote against Biden.
Yeah, I'm more anti-Biden than anti-Trump though.
Yeah, but it wasn't Trump though. That's the whole thing that people gotta realize. The real reason why people wasn't really fucking with Trump is because these people felt more emboldened during Trump era. Trump is the creator of all of these so-called freedom fighters, these new age freedom fighters that they got out here now. These new age ones, like the Kyle Rittenhouse people.
I see who was president when the FBI building in Oklahoma got bombed? That was Clinton. That was Clinton, right? Yeah. See, so what I'm saying is that these people, this is just my impression. You know what I'm saying? Is that many of those Southern Democrats that switched over in the 60s, right? The Dixiecrats. You know, they you know, the ideas that they had, right, still exist throughout both parties. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, for instance, Biden, right, was mentored by the Dixiecrats.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? And so, you know, they, you know what I'm saying? That I don't really see, you know, some things is just a matter of euphemism. You know what I mean? As time goes on, like you can't say nigger. Like, you ever heard when like a politician giving a speech like in the 50s and 60s and they just saying, yeah, and the nigger's this and the nigger's that. You understand? You know, it's nothing. You understand what I mean? But then at a certain point, it becomes unacceptable. You ever heard of a dude? His name is Atwater. I think maybe Lee Atwater or something. You gotta, you know, I mean, you don't have to study that guy, but if you ever come across studying that guy, right, and how he changed political campaigning, and he was the dude behind Reagan. You know what I'm saying? He was the who was this dude that was with Bush? Karl Rove. He was like Ronald Reagan's Karl Rove. You know what I'm saying? Where he devised the whole strategy, and you know, you gotta remember, this is kind of as you know, civil rights is kind of taking hold now. You know, things have happened, the schools is integrated already, and so now it's certain language that you can't use. You see what I'm saying? So he was the one that kind of came with the, well, yeah, you know, we're gonna do a drug war. You see what I'm saying? So we're not gonna say niggers, but because we know the image exists out there amongst the people, like dog whistle politics, that he developed that. He developed that to the level where it's at right now. Everybody that's doing it, right, they got it from him.
What's his name again?
I think it's Lee Atwater. Hold on, let me.
But look, let me add on real quick though, right? From the day that Obama was elected in president, a person named Steve Bannon, he just got
in jail
for the January 6th. Him and another fella, they was in I think a Washington D.C. bar, and they created this whole agenda to get Trump elected. Trump created the Make America Great Again campaign.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time that he was going at Obama, they was working on getting him out of there, right? And this whole thing has been a progression. When he finally got in there, it was a symbol to white supremacists and all of these far-right extremists that they have arrived, right? And they created that QAnon conspiracy and all of these things. But long story short, God, you're right. It is something that's been happening through each one of the things, but it's been a natural progression. If you read a book called Columbine, right, they talk about ever since David Koresh in Waco, Texas, and the Unabomers and the state building that you talk, all of these things are people that are trying to top the last person. But they're all far right extremists. And Trump, although I don't know if he is one of those people, he made sure that those people were around him.
See, here's the thing though, right? when you deal with this left and this right thing, right? I think my opinion of it, right? This is my opinion, is that this political thing is a circle.
Yes.
Right? And so what happens is when you get, say we right here in the center on this side of the circle, right? And then people is going left and people is going right. But see, once you get around this side of the circle, the far left and the far right is the same people. And they want the same things. You know what I'm saying? They're both trying to kind of destroy the fabric of the mainstream. You know what I'm saying? For different reasons, they feel, it's detrimental to the people. But, at the end of the day, like you said, the Kyle Rittenhouse case is a perfect example of why y'all motherfuckers always end up in the same place at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all trying, just like, look, why do the Bloods and the Crips of LA get in the beef? Because they're trying to take over the same turf at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? Like drug dealers from New York don't get in the shootouts with drug dealers from Texas because they don't see each other. You don't have anything. I don't even know you. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, that's why you constantly going to see these clashes. Proud Boys versus Antifa. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they're both
Fringe groups. Huh?
They're both fringe groups, right? But they're both trying to kind of get to freedom by controlling people. Yes, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's real. That's the definition of terrorism.
Yeah, and see when you trying to get to freedom by controlling people, that's what make you violent.
Definitely.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what make both sides prone to violence, to show up ready to burn shit down and shoot people.
But I'll tell you this though, whether far right or far left, right? And even in the center, it's never been positive for us.
No.
So that's why whoever's there, I'm going against him.
Mm-hmm.
During their time to get the other person. Because I don't want you to solidify your bullshit.
Yeah. I mean,
until we come up with our own plan to do what we need to do for us, man.
Yeah, I think we need to do that, and I think another thing we need to understand is that it really doesn't matter who's in the office. It just matters how you politic during that time. Meaning that the LGBT community did make some advances in the Bush administration. You know what I'm saying? It didn't get all the way to legalize marriage, but there was some things that, you know what I'm saying, like in the military, et cetera, they already was relaxing certain rules. So what I'm saying is that they took advantage when they had a favorable politician. But see, it's about how they politic regardless. You understand what I'm saying? Even if they have a politician that's not favorable to their cause, right? Then they get their ducks in a row to get that motherfucker out of there. You understand what I mean? They find an individual. They don't just wait for an individual to run, but they back a motherfucker all the way. They find a community organizer or whatever, right? And they get that person to run, and they finance that person's run, and they make sure that person comes to talk to them. See, that's something. Now, see, in New York, we famous for that because New York is so heavily Democratic. Most of the presidents, when they campaign, they don't feel they need to come here because it already is what it is. You understand what I mean? But see, just that fact, right, that you only go to the religious people. You don't come to the real knowledgeable people. You don't come to the streets. You don't come to the academics and none of that. You go to the churches to talk to them about some religious shit to get them to vote Democrat. You understand what I mean? But when is a motherfucker gonna come holler at us?
We don't vote.
But
They
see,
go to the churches and they get the seniors. The seniors is one of the biggest voting blocks.
look, that's true. But see, what we had to tell them, right, or what we had to show them is that we don't have to vote for them. See, until we actually produce the candidates. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm talking about, look, if you go into the science, right, of most of these people, you'll find, you know, like AOC, for instance, you'll find that it's a very organized group behind her that's financing her and supporting everything that she's doing. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, you'll find that, you know, Ronald Reagan, there was a very organized group of motherfuckers behind him that thrusted him into the forefront. You understand what I'm saying? You know, if it's not that, maybe the person might have started running on some grassroots tip, but at some point they got some backing from you know, some groups that thrusted them to where they at. And I'm saying that until we're really thrusting those people, you know what I'm saying? Until you know, we could say, and I'm not sure if you know, Puffy and them, they might do that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But until we could say that, listen, fuck the votes. You know, Puff Daddy threw that dinner and raised $3 million for your campaign. You understand what I'm saying? See, that's where the real, your vote doesn't count as much, right? You can have 100 people, 1,000 people. Your vote don't count as much as that guy, that one guy. Remember, it was one guy that was backing Trump, right? And everybody else wanted him gone. But everybody else's votes didn't count as much as that one guy who was behind him. You understand what I'm saying? All the other people that was voting in the Republican primary could not outweigh that one guy's money. You understand what I'm saying? And so until we get into those levels of the game, that's actually more powerful, because everything else is representative. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, I'm talking about according to the way the government is drawing up, right? The House of Representatives is the house of the people. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody else is either indirectly elected or appointed. You understand what I'm saying? So that means that there's other ways you have to affect them. There's other ways you have to affect the Supreme Court. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not going to vote for them. And this is something I heard C. Vernon Mason. Remember C. Vernon Mason? He was the only one that had sense. When it was C. Vernon Mason, Al Sharpton, and Roy Ennis was the dudes that was behind Tawana Brooke. You know what I'm saying? Now Roy Ennis, he got his positive. He's an activist. He's official. I'm not, you know, I don't agree with his views, but in terms of getting his hands dirty, Roy Ennis was about his job. You understand what I'm saying? Al Sharpton, of course, we know Al Sharpton, but C. Vernon Mason was an attorney at law. You know what I'm saying? And he was the only person that they kept fucking with out of those three. You know what I'm saying? They kept disbarring him, and they wouldn't let him practice law. But see, they let the other two keep going on because they had a little bit of clownishness with them. You know what I'm saying? But I was just saying that to give us some background. But I saw C. Vernon Mason on a show one time talking, and I realized the real reason they took his law license, because he was saying things like he said on his day, and he was saying how the Supreme Court gets appointees. And he was saying that the Supreme Court gets an appointee every time a constituency in America starts making noise. Like once they prove that they a factor in America. So for instance, right, he was saying when you had the civil rights movement and black people started making noise, we got Thurgood Marshall. You know what I'm saying? When you had the ERA, right, the Equal Rights Amendment, that was about the women in the equal rights and all of that, right? When they started making noise, you got Sandra Day O'Connor. You know what I'm saying? When you know, in recent times, you know what I'm saying, you see the LGBTQ and the Hispanic communities start making their noise, and you see what's her name, the wise Latina, Sotomayor, right? And the other lady, what's the other, Kagan. You get Kagan and Sotomayor on there. You see what I'm saying? So right.
Who you got now?
Who's gonna be put on there? Who's the next constituency?
Following your logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
The two appointees that Trump put on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are they, and who's making noise that they were put there?
Well, because it's a man and a woman. You know what I'm saying? So the woman is there, I think, to represent the professional. Hold up, what happened? Did I get cut off? Nah. See, I don't like Instagram. Cut me off in the middle of my conversation. Hey, everybody, listen. Everybody knows the black man doesn't like to be cut off in the middle of this conversation. Somebody needs to talk to Instagram about that. I guess they got some kind of system. But yeah, I would say, you know, until he comes back, I would still, the way I would answer that question is that the woman, what's her name? It's the woman that just came on there. She's there to represent. She just came on the Supreme Court.
The new one, right?
Yeah.
Let me find it.
Oh, you should. Oh, you came over there, right? So you know what's the name anyway now. So yeah, to answer that question, yeah, Barrett. Barrett is there to represent the professional women. The what's the lady that worked down there at Facebook? Like the Feinbergs, the you know, this kind of new corporate interest, you know what I'm saying? Like she's not there. For instance, see, Sandra Day O'Connor is there for like abortion and birth control pills and those kind of things. You know what I'm saying? She's there for equal pay and, you know, this kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And the other dude, what's his name? Kavanaugh is there for the angry white guy. You know what I'm saying? The you know, the guys that was there at what was the place where the girl got ran over? Where they had the protest right after Trump got elected. And he said it was good people out there.
In Virginia.
Yeah, that West Virginia, you know, that angry white guy. You know what I'm saying?
When I feel like the country getting taken from you.
Right, I feel like the country's getting taken.
He's a college dude.
Yeah.
College dude.
Right. The kind of white guys that is you know, they was represented by like Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, you know what I'm saying? That's the constituencies I would say they there to represent.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I mean, long story short, though, all of the conservative issues, all of the stuff that go into the Supreme Court is going to be handled in a conservative way, in a Republican way right now, because everything is Republican leaning.
Even though the guy has been kind of betraying them. I don't know if you noticed that. They're a little bit mad at the dude that he's the Chief Justice, Roberts. Yeah, they're a little bit pissed off at Roberts because he don't toe the party line. Like he keep voting with the
straight legal.
he on some legal shit. Like he like, man, fuck all that shit, son. This is what the Constitution say right here. He keeps siding with the Democrats. So
But Trump solidified in his time in there. He put so many judges in there that his joint is solidified.
what he made it 6-3, right?
Yeah, but not only that, I'm talking about federal judges all over the country.
Yeah, he put it in punch.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like his joint is solidified, even though he's not in office, he's in office.
I mean, but look, that's something that people can say that that's Trump, but that's just something that's dealing with time. Like, you know who else did that? And you know, the Republicans complain about it, but FDR. There was just a lot of people that died. Like there was somebody who was the Chief Justice and he died, and then some new people came in that ruled on the civil rights shit from a different perspective. You understand what I'm saying? So I think who was the dude? Was it? I think Wendell Holmes. He didn't like black people too much. It was one of them. I can't recall his name. You know, and then when he died, some new people came on. They started having a little bit different rulings. You know what I'm saying? So you know that's just something that you know is kind of an aspect of just the way you know judges they in there for life. You know what I'm saying? You know because there's also that aspect. That remember there was Democrats that was asking people. They was like, for instance, what's the name? The RBG, Notorious, the Notorious. Yeah, they was asking the Notorious, like, look, why don't you retire now while Obama's in office?
Yeah.
So Obama can put somebody in your place that's going to preserve your point of view.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. The other dude did it too. Where you just stayed there like, saying, listen, man, you got to pass the torch, son. So
my thing is this though, God, right? We know all of this science, right? We know through our lessons that their greatest tool is divide and conquer, right? We know all of this science with the political, how this thing is running, how it sways back and forth. My thing is, how do we utilize that to gain power? Because we know their tools, we know their tactics, and we know their strategy. So how do we utilize that to gain power?
I mean, ultimately, you know, is like kind of just coming to an understanding and a mindset, right? That you know, the power that exists right now, right? That we say in the powers that be exists mostly because of our mind state. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that, okay, in America, they got the police and the army with guns and bombs, you know what I'm saying? Which enforces whatever that, you know, whatever is their will. You know what I'm saying? If they want people to stand over there or take the vaccine or whatever it might be, you know, they got the arms to back it up, you know, whatever it is that they got to say. But, you know, ultimately just saying, you know, looking at the world history, you know, of politics, that's what happened. You know what I mean? When people came to power by, you know, kind of saying, well, look, we're not dealing with your program. Whether that means that we're going to leave from over here and establish something else for ourselves, or whether that means we're going to go to war with you, we're not going to kind of continue that cycle, like I was saying before, where, in order to help yourself, you got to help your oppressor. You know what I'm saying? By default. So, like I said, really moving out from that party system. You know what I'm saying? The Donna Brazils, right, have to bring that knowledge back. You know what I'm saying? That you gain from a lifetime, right, of being a political operative. You understand what I'm saying? You have to, leave those religions, those religious sects of Democrat and Republican. You know what I'm saying? And actually, because that's kind of what we've been saying the whole time, right? Is that structure, within that structure, there's no real representation for us. You understand what I'm saying? Even as a faction of the coalition, right? We're not organized enough. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, within the Democratic coalition, you got the LGBTQ community, you got soccer moms, you got, what I mean, et cetera, et cetera. These other parts of the coalition, they either are highly organized, right, like the LGBTQ community, or they're powerful in the sense of, okay, these soccer moms, they're more likely to be suburban homeowners, right, and have some power through their home ownership and tax paying aspect of their life, until we really get into the grassroots of where that power comes from. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, we're trying to deal with the power and, have that power wielded on our behalf in different situations, right? But we're not dealing with the science of where that power comes from. So that even if we get a person in there that we feel we identify with or identifies with us, right? It's like, okay, say Obama or whatever other person, right? You're not the source of his power. You understand what I'm saying? So if he disrespects you or if he doesn't govern on your behalf, right? You're just not the source of his power. As long as Big Pharma and Wall Street is going to provide for his campaign and they're going to buy up all the TV time so that whatever other alternative that you have that might be better than him won't even come across your radar, then, you're basically kind of, you're playing the game within the parameters that the oppressor wants you to. You know what I'm saying? It's like you could put a mouse in a maze, right? And he feels like he's frolicking and doing what he's doing, but really you're just a part of my experiment. You understand what I'm saying? Where the outcome was already known. I already knew where the cheese was. You know what I'm saying? It was just about how you was going to react within this experiment. You understand what I mean? And the only power you're going to have is one day when they open that gate for you to go in the maze and you're like, nah, I ain't going in there. You understand what I'm saying? Now at that point, you're no good for the experiment no more. You understand what I'm saying? And they got to decide what they're going to do. They're either going to release you back out into nature where you belong, or they're going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's the situation that we in. You know what I'm saying? And until we really see, like I'm saying that, the Greeks the Greeks didn't work within the Persian system to become Greece. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Caesar didn't work within the Etruscan system to become a dictator. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hitler didn't work within the system, and that's not necessarily to say you have to destroy the entire system, but you are going to have to think outside the box because the box is already designed to limit your power. So you're never going to, see that, and you're never going to, like I said on here a couple times, people say doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome is being crazy, right? But doing different things and it's expecting the same outcome has to be at least as crazy, the same
That's a
amount.
fact.
You see what I'm saying? So
That's a fact.
So when you look at these people and shit, right? All the other people, you know what I'm saying? All the other groups that's being successful, that's what they doing. Like Staten Island, they separate from the rest of the city. Staten Island is Republican because Staten Island produces their own politicians. Ain't no carpetbaggers out there. You know what I'm saying? The Italians that's out there continue to produce the politicians that come from there. And so those politicians have their same mindset. They got their same goals, their same dreams. Their kids go to school together, so they have the same issues. So they're gonna vote in a particular kind of way. You understand what I'm saying?
They're not powerful enough to flip the election.
Right. They're not powerful outside of Staten Island. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm gonna say though, God, right? That's what I'm saying. I think my phone might be done. So if I get cut off, I'm just gonna text it in the chat. But look, this is what I'm gonna say, right? Our lessons teaches us that we write our history 25,000 years in advance, right? We already know as wise scientists the science of everything that's going on right now. We've seen Stacey Abrams was able to flip Georgia on a grassroots level from red to blue, right? We know that specifically this country is divided on party lines almost in half. And that is our power. So what I say is, looking at it on a 25-year perspective, if we were able to, on a grassroots level, to basically what we're going through right now, to capitalize on what we're going through right now and utilize that, just like Trump did with his MAGA rallies across the country, utilize that and show people how neither political party is really in favor of us, and get us to get a voting block together where we can swing elections. That's how we will be able to create political power in the long-term game. Not in the short term, but in the long-term game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we would have to focus it. On that same level, we will also have to be solidifying connections across states so that we would have some type of network where we could distribute products, food, clothing, and shelter, and all of the different things that we need, where we don't have to focus on going to Target and Walmart and all of these other different things. And these are the type of connections that we're going to have to make over the next 25 years in order for us to have some type of political power, some type of strength where we'll be able to make a statement.
Yeah. See, those are monolithic ideas. See, that's something that is like a just a nonsense idea that people throw out there all the time. Black people are not monolithic. White people ain't monolithic neither. There's no monolithic. The only monolithic is like we all got to eat food. You understand what I'm saying? But what food we all eating is not going to be monolithic. But see, monolithic ideas, right, can bind separate people together. Meaning, Catholicism was a monolithic idea, right? To where you had all these countries in Europe that was fighting actual wars with each other. You know what I'm saying? But they was able to come together to fight the Crusades. You see what I'm saying? These monolithic ideas democracy, communism, capitalism, Christianity, right? The tribalism in the Black community has been too great, right? To allow those monolithic ideas to develop again. The civil rights movement, right? These types of freedoms, us, just being able to live in conditions that was above just barely survivable was a monolithic idea, right? So you could have, Muslims, Christians, Hebrew Israelites, whatever, pulling in the same direction. You understand what I mean? And until we really develop those monolithic ideas, you know what I'm saying? That type of organization, at least on a large scale, this is kind of, we've been speaking on a very concrete level. And now what I'm about to say is on a social level a little bit more, but it is historically the situation, right? That in most of those situations, the white man did not conquer and divide. He conquered people that was already divided because of those divisions.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying? And until we, and then to take that a step further, right? When we know the science of the wisdom bill to destroy the green and 140, right? And how these divisions and these separations, what they could ultimately lead to.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So, because when we look at this is kind of, we see it, and it's easy to point it out when we talk about the Bloods and Crips or the GDs and the BDs or whatever, right? But see, you also got, Booker T. Washington and Marcus Garvey.
WB Du Bois.
Yeah, right. W.B. Du Bois. You know what I'm saying? You got Martin and Malcolm. You got, you know what I'm saying? Right. Yes, I mean, or the NOI and the NOI and the what's the other and the or the Moorish Science Temple. You understand what I'm saying? All of these different divisions, right? We allow them to be or we allow them to stay in the way of monolithic ideas. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some of it is just our nature. You know what I'm saying? It's not all negative. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, for instance, right? You will be hard pressed, right? To find a person who's not white, right? Peace. Like if you ask a white person right now, if you go up to a white person in America, right, and you tell them, you ask them, you say, yo, say fuck Europe.
Listen, let me get
a white person will say fuck Europe without no hesitation, right? But you won't find a person of Jamaican descent to say fuck Jamaica. You won't find a Cuban to say fuck Cuba. You understand what I'm saying? Because they got with this monolithic idea, and see, nationalism crushed tribalism in the white world. There's not too many white people that can tell you what tribe they come from. But nationalism had no effect on tribalism in Africa. You see what I'm saying? They still going according to their tribe. So that's what I'm saying. These things stop the monolithic ideas from being able to bring us together. You understand what I mean? Like, just like when you at the rally, right? That's a monolithic idea where you got the brothers from all different boroughs, all different ages, complexions, size, shapes, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? But, to me, like I said, that's a little more of an esoteric thing in comparison to some of the concrete things we were saying. But I do think that's a big thing, that until we able to conquer that tribalism. You see what I mean? See, white people was forced to conquer their tribalism also because of the Moors. You see what I'm saying?
Well, hold up, right?
Way back in Europe, they got
We look
it.
at history as our example, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we look at the story of W.D. Fard and Elijah Muhammad, right? They said that Fard was able to go around Detroit, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
With the silks and go door to door
Mm-hmm.
until he created a following. And then he found Elijah Muhammad. And then Elijah Muhammad was able to spread that situation all across this, that, and third, right? Now, if we look in New York, we see that the father, he didn't follow the same pattern, but a similar pattern that gave him the first non-born, and then the first non-born spreading that knowledge all around the city and then all around the world. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if we use history as an example, we are capable of going on a grassroots level and spreading information at a high rate.
Mm-hmm.
And it is possible if Stacey Abrams was able to do it in one of the most racist states in the union, Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we could possibly do this on a countrywide level if people is focused on doing it with intent.
We gotta turn the TV off though.
Yeah, that's a fact.
because the people listen. It's like, listen, because they inundating it, so it's like, yeah, for every Stacey Abrams story, right? There's 10 dumb rapper stories. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, people I just, like sometimes that's my, like other people say that things is put in the movies as like a prediction, right? I don't see that as much. You know what I'm saying? The way I draw it up is that they put things in movies, right? And then it's kind of like, oh, y'all didn't see that? All right, we good for another 150 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, they not hip, son. Look, we can do it like this in their face, son. They don't even see it. Right. You see what I'm saying? So, in terms of the predictive aspect of it, is that, yeah, once you put that idea out there, the young kids, right, who they still in the imagination world, so they don't separate this from reality yet, they start coming up with ways to make this shit a reality. So you might just put a spaceship on a movie, right? And a little kid out there is going to think that shit is real. And they're going to use the knowledge that they got, like, yeah, but and figure out how to get it out of space. So I'm saying that on two levels, right? On the one level of saying historically that's how it happens, but also the ideas that we put to the young. See, like we saying right now, right? This is an idea that has to be put to the young, right? You see what I mean? And then they will develop it into a reality because they can't really separate the imagination from the reality yet. You see what I'm saying? So with their creative power, a lot of times they can bridge that gap. You see what I'm saying? And something that was imagination in the last generation can become reality for them right now. You see what I mean? That's the whole premise that we exist on. You see what I mean? That knowledge was radical at that time, so radical that it couldn't even be put raw. You see what I'm saying? But now that a group of motherfuckers that was grown up was like, boom, you put that in our face before this hard thing in our head got all the way hard up here. You understand what I'm saying? Where ideas and understanding could still come in. But yeah,
I don't know who's gonna be dedicated to that. But I say this, just like Yaku created devil, that's how we gonna have to create God.
Yeah, now look, that's kind of how I see all those 2050 predictions. Those 2050 predictions, right? Not saying that the white man didn't exist and all these other conditions, right? But we're gonna have to look at it, right? If conditions get how they saying in 2050, we're gonna have to look at that and say on some level, that's the devil that we made. You know what I'm saying? Whoever's the people that's there at that time, they're gonna have to realize that, yeah, when motherfuckers was flossing, you know what I'm saying, and you know, every black nigga that got a little bit of change had to get a Maybach, you understand what I'm saying? And instead of doing any kind of reinvestment, you know what I'm saying, into the surroundings, that, you know, yeah, this is how the situation got right there, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, knowing us, right, we gonna politics, huh? We gonna come out of that shit better than motherfuckers is right now. Cause that's how we do. You know what I mean? But I'm saying that, yeah, in my opinion, it's gonna have to hit rock bottom, right? For motherfuckers to see, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, because it's one of them things where it's like, all right, you get this degree. See, niggas is under illusion about the hard times. So that's one thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, you look out there in the streets, you know, we see our people over there on Lexington Avenue, they hungry, naked out of doors. See what I'm saying? We look on the news and we see that our brothers and sisters is being beaten and killed by the ones that advocate that kind of God.
That kind of God, that's a fact.
But you see what I'm saying? We still believe in 10% on face value. So evidently, it's more that gotta happen. Yeah, it's more that gotta happen. It's gotta get back to that actual state where it's no way but up. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, this little space right here where you can go up and down, you know, it's not sinking in with the situation is. So, you know, yeah, like you know,
creating a climate right now. The climate with the global pandemic, the inflation of goods and services, the money being nothing, no jobs, people is being mandated to do things to keep a job. All of these different variables is the time when somebody would have to capitalize on this to actually deal with mental transmutation, right? That's the time. Now's the time that you actually go out there and actually change what's going on.
Yeah,
with our people.
Yeah, that's definitely the you know. But now, and see that you hit on that, right? That's an opportunity that I've seen that we've been doing that too. That a lot of times when the system of oppression breaks down, we do everything we can to reestablish it. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, those segment of slaves who decided that they wanted to stay on the plantation because massa needed them more than ever now. You understand what I'm saying? Or
the guard wrote, "Hi Hitler." You see that?
Yeah, or times where like for instance, the economic system breaks down, and everybody does everything they can. Like, they tell you, look, go out and spend all your money that you need to be saving so you can save these corporations. And people go out and do it. You understand what I'm saying? So just the mindset of a slave, you know what I'm saying? That's why I say a lot of times slavery is kind of looked at as the conditions of the slavery. You know what I'm saying? And that is specific. It is, I'm not saying not to count it, you know what I mean? But slavery is a lot of other things too. You know what I'm saying? Slavery is about the mindset of the slave, and it's about being an economic strategy where you do all the work and the other person get all the money.
That's a fact.
You understand what I'm saying? If you're dealing with that situation, you know what I'm saying? Where, because I saw that it was people, they was having a conversation about, the athletes saying that, the sports is kind of like slavery. You know what I'm saying? And I think it was Colin Kaepernick, and he was writing about the combine and how, like, they measuring you kind of the same way as slavery. You know what I'm saying? And everything.
hospital bed of men?
Nah. And
Yeah,
then,
do that.
so they had some people on there that was athletes, and they was like, yeah, but it's not slavery because we want to play. And it was like, yeah, because you got slave mentality. You know what I'm saying? You're volunteering to be a good slave, but that don't necessarily mean that you know, the other aspects, you know, does it compare to chattel slavery? No. You know what I'm saying? But there's just a lot of things, whether you're talking about just peasantry in and of itself, you know, serfdom, you know, indentured servitude, all these is different levels, man. But to say that it's not slavery, to me, you let the people off the hook that advocate that kind of shit. You understand what I'm saying? Just like when you say, well, no, it wasn't slavery, it was sharecropping. Nigga, you was making all the money and we was doing all the work. You know, you just found different auspices under which not to give me the money. You understand what I'm saying? Now you're saying that you don't have to pay me because I owe you for staying in the shack on your property. You know what I'm saying? I owe you for the seeds. I owe you for the shovels and the rakes and all of that shit. You understand what I'm saying? But is, you know, at the end of the day, you see what I'm saying? You know,
Let me ask you this, right? Let me ask you this, right? Most of our people, right, including my generation, the first thing they'll do is give their son, they'll give little Tyrone, they'll give him a ball, right? They'll give him a football, a basketball, baseball, or a bat, or a Batman toy, right? How many of them are actually giving him the seed to say, I want to own the football team?
right.
Because that's the issue right there, God. When you read that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it basically shows you how these mind states are being passed down generationally. Right? And we're creating children that are ready for serfdom from the household because we're telling them to go to school and get a job, as opposed to telling them to go out there and learn how to be Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
We're not teaching them that.
But see, let me tell you what I think that got to do with it. A lot of black people don't want to admit it, but a lot of them lucked up into them positions that they is. And listen, I'm talking about on every level. A lot of the crack dealers that you just lucked up and happened to be standing on the street in 1982, son. You just was, you know, you was from a block where it always was drug people around here. So you made a lot of money, but there's not nothing particular about you. Or the same way with, you know, you got a lot of black people that, you know, in the early 70s, you know what I'm saying, whatever was going on in different places, whether it's Compton, whether it's Jamaica, Queens, you see black people acquiring properties and shit, right? But they just bought that house. They didn't really have financial literacy that they passed on to their children. And so their children rarely come out like them.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like you go to Jamaica, Queens, you don't see a second generation or third generation of motherfuckers that's homeowners now that started from there. The same way as you could go other places and you will see second and third generations that they'll tell you, yeah, well, you know, our grandfather first got a house in Levittown, you know what I'm saying, after World War II, and yeah, we've been rolling ever since. You understand what I'm saying? Because they was able to pass that financial literacy along where, like for instance, what I've been telling.
Answer that question, God. You see the question that God wrote there?
So why Allah told 5% to get a job, he was saying go to slavery. I mean, he first of all, right? We in 2022. You know what I'm saying? At that time, they was told to go to get a job so that they could have resources to not become criminals. You understand what I'm saying? But once you got those resources, right, you got to go to another level. That's the bottom line. That was to stay out of trouble. That, you know, at that time, even me, when I got the knowledge, I was a child. You know what I'm saying? And as you grow older, you know what I'm saying? As you grow older and you start to want things, if you don't have means to get those things, you're going to turn to crime. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, remember, he also said to go to school or learn a trade or a skill. And what you did with that trade or skill may not necessarily be working for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? He was telling you to do things. And of course, the law was about education, you know what I'm saying, to improve your lot in life. But, you know, it wasn't that kind of wishing. But
you know something crazy? Man, the guy Anthony was just talking about that today because his daughter came home from school talking about the teacher that they was doing a project at school where everybody got a job.
mm-hmm.
And he was telling her, like, and we was talking about how they start them that young to think that you need a job and go to school, you need a job and be successful in life.
But see, for
She
instance,
was like second grade.
Yeah, when you deal with that type of financial literacy, like for instance, one thing I've been telling young people, right, who's just coming out of school, right, is that look, you should look to, if that's the route you want to go, right, look to buy a house, right, in the next couple of years right now. See what I'm saying? Because now, if you get it now, right, even if you get a 40-year mortgage, right, you'll be finished with that by the time you die. You see what I'm saying? See, they want to go out and go to San Tropez on vacation and shit. You understand what I'm saying? You can do that later. But if you get the house now you see, because there's a misunderstanding about generational wealth. You know, where people think that it means that you rich. But generational wealth means no. There's somebody in my family that came to America with 17 cents in their pocket and never made above minimum wage. But generations down the line, I'm down here in Soho, Frank. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really means. You see what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that type of financial literacy ever really existed. You see what I mean? Because like I said, even on the street, the person who you just lucked up and was from the right block. You know, your older brother was a tough guy, so nobody came to fuck with your spot. You understand what I'm saying? But you didn't really have the financial literacy to reinvest that money in other things and shit where you still living. You see what I'm saying? The same thing, like I said, with the houses, with the jobs, you know, they just people who, you know, you went to school, you listened to all the rules, and you ended up a lawyer. But you really don't have the ability to mentor somebody to that position. You see what I mean? Especially somebody that might have problems that you didn't have.
That's why I think it's real important that we flip these degrees, man. When you look at these degrees and you see, because Elijah Muhammad said in the Theology of Time, learn from the devil, he's successful.
Right.
And we see that, like in degrees, like why does the devil keep our people apart from his own social equality, right? Because he doesn't want us to know how filthy it is and all this affair. But we learn from, when we look at something like that, we know and understand that the devil is keeping the money away from everybody else by keeping his money in his circle. And we're, instead of learning from that and saying, okay, that's evil that the devil does that, but why aren't we doing it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue that we're not climbing over. Why don't we keep the money in our own circles? Why don't we keep people apart from our social equality?
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that we have to overcome.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you once again, like I said, a lot of times we do it, like, see, for instance, right? Take Jay-Z, great businessman, most of the time, right? But you invent this clothing line, and then you spend your whole time advertising other fucking clothing lines. You know what I'm saying?
That was something
we keep doing shit.
You see Dave talking about that?
Nah, I ain't see Dave talking about that, but yeah, I mean, shit, it's clear. But listen,
Talk about the vodka thing and that. He like, hope kept going against everything.
yeah, we gotta rush out of here tonight, man, because I gotta buy a mop. I gotta catch this store. Yeah, I gotta catch this store real quick. Listen, everybody that made it this far through the Each One Teach One, hit the like button. We'll be back tomorrow. Shout out to the Medicine Cabinet from the G building. Yeah, we had a brother came in from Texas real quick. Well, I don't know what he was talking about. And Knowledge Born was in here with us today. You know what I'm saying? Meantime, in between time, we're gonna shout out and say peace.
Peace to the gods and the earth and all the human families of the universe.
Peace. The brother from Texas.